This smoking study was conducted by a couple of doctors from MCG, the Department of Pediatrics in particular, and I am so grateful that they are here with us today. Dr. Martha Tingen is a professor of population health sciences at MCG, and Dr. Alice Little-Caldwell is an associate professor of pediatrics also at the Medical College of Georgia. Doctors, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. Great study, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I'll start with you, Dr. Caldwell. Why did you do the study? Was it to try to get mom and dad to quit smoking, or was it to try to make sure the kids never start? Why'd you do it?
Well, I think the main thing is try to get the parents to stop smoking. And of course, along the way, we want children to understand that it's very dangerous to their health, and they could be allies in this battle to help their parents quit. You know, they could be supportive of their parents' attempts to quit.
All right, so let's talk about the grown-ups in the study first. You took about 400 of them, parents of fourth graders?
Parents of fourth graders.
Why that, go ahead, why that group, and how'd you come about that study group?
Yeah, so what we did is we included children and parents, and to be in the study, both the parent and the child needed to agree that they wanted to do this. We had 7 rural schools across our regional, the CSRA, but only in Georgia. And we had 7 inner city or urban schools that were all from Richmond County. And we had a class at each of those schools, if not more than one class. And all of those schools were randomly assigned by school. And this is a really important part of the study because it gives great validity to the study. So the group that was randomized to what we called a typical health intervention study, those kids got the traditional health education program in the school as mandated by the Department of Education. And the parents that were smokers in the study got handouts about the importance of quitting, and they also got put in touch with the toll-free quit line for the state of Georgia, which we have, that has fantastic trainers on the phone that you can talk with. That was all one group. The other group, which was really, we call our intervention, where we really wanted to see, could we really get parents to quit smoking at the same time their child is in a classroom and receives a tobacco prevention message. Could a child be a health messenger, a change agent to encourage their parent to quit, and at the same time in their mind be thinking about, I never want to take up this habit?
All right, so were these people who wanted to quit smoking or who just said, yes, I'll take part in your study, we'll see what happens?
These were people who wanted to be in the study, and they knew it was about quitting smoking for the parents, and they knew it was about preventing the onset of smoking with children. And I have to tell you about the intervention component because it's really critical to the study. So the kids received the traditional required educational requirements by the State Department of Education on healthy behaviors, but they also received a fantastic program that occurred weekly over a total of 12 weeks related to tobacco and drug use prevention.
Why did you, Dr. Caldwell, choose children and parents from rural and urban settings? You wanted to make sure that was a part of this. It's the first time it's ever been done. Why? Why did that matter to you?
Well, we were just trying to be inclusive, you know, trying to, there may be different effects of living in a community, and a rural community where there may not be as much education available versus in the city where there may be more mass media that they're exposed to.
I wanted to follow up on something Dr. Tingen mentioned about children being change agents. Were you able to see pretty quickly in the study that these kids could have an impact on whether mom and dad stopped smoking?
Well, I would say so, yes, because when children learn about something that impacts their parents, they're willing to go and talk to them about that, and they may be upset when they see their parents continuing to smoke, and then they say something about it.
What kind of weekly intervention are we talking about? Would you see mom and dad face to face, or would it be over the telephone?
Yeah, so what we did for the parents intervention component, so we trained either the school nurse or the health education teacher in each of these schools on the curriculum for the kids. And then we made visits to monitor fidelity to be sure the program for the children was being implemented appropriately. For the parents were offered what's called evidence-based cessation treatment that is recognized nationwide, which includes 2 components. It includes behavioral skills counseling, where you can either meet in a group or one-on-one or by telephone to help you develop behaviors that will combat the psychological addiction of nicotine. It also included as a second component that's evidence-based a pharmacotherapy or a medication, which was nicotine replacement therapy, and that's a patch.
A patch.
And that is available over the counter if you're 18 years of age or older. And I am a nurse practitioner and nurse, and Dr. Caldwell, of course, is a physician. And you do not have to have that prescribed by a provider. You can buy it if you're 18 years of age over the counter. There are some things for reasons that you should not take that medication, but we, of course, screen those people carefully for that.
All right, so you have this group that you're focusing on as far as intervention. You have another control group. Did you do nothing with them, or did you send them a pamphlet every now and then?
They got mail-outs. The parents got mail-outs about quitting smoking, the importance for their own health, the importance for their child, and they also received information about the toll-free quit line for the state of Georgia.
All right, so this study covered 400 plus people over 4 years.
Correct.
How quickly or how long did it take before you started to see results, where you started to see people buy in and say, you know what, it is time to quit?
Me to answer? Okay, yeah. So with the first, we did this in what we call cohorts, or another fancy word for groups. So we did 7 schools first. Half of those, or 3 of those, were intervention, 3 control, and then we did the other 7. Because you can imagine managing this many people at one time with a team. That we have a great team that helps us implement this. But what we did an original analysis after the first year, about a year and a half in, and we were already seeing that the intervention effects of parents quitting were much greater than the others.
Wow.
There's a big component of this that's really critical. So when we do research studies, there's all kinds of ways to do it. And a lot of what we do is we do self-report. They fill out a survey. They tell us what they think. Their knowledge change, their attitude, their behaviors change. That's all fine and good. And we want to trust and believe that what they tell us is the truth. But this study went one step further. We also, on every child and every parent that was in the study, we collected their saliva sample. And in that saliva, we measured something called cotinine. Cotinine is the primary metabolite that nicotine that is exposed to the body or that is inhaled to the body can be detected.
If you smoke, you're going to have it in your saliva.
You're going to have it.
You can't run from that. You can't hide from that test.
It can be measured in your saliva, your blood, your urine, your hair shaft, even your toenail clippings. So we use saliva. It's non-invasive. It's like putting a little dental roll in the mouth.
Sure.
And we, of course, had permission for all this. And then we did saliva testing for cotinine at baseline. We did it after the first year of intervention, the second year of intervention, and then 2 years later.
Did it steadily go down?
Yes.
Incredible. Talk about the role of those kids when it comes to quitting again. I want to touch on that again. So my question to you is, what made parents start to decide that it was time to quit? Because they were worried about their own health, or because they were worried that they were being bad role models by smoking?
Yes, I think it's both. I think that they know that they'll have health consequences eventually, but they also know that they're role models for children, so that children see that adults smoke it, so they may think that that's what adults do. And also they know that the smoking around the children is also detrimental to the children's health.
What can a child say to a mom and dad to maybe make the parent think, you know what, I probably shouldn't do this anymore? What kind of words could you give a kid who might be watching to say to mom and dad or their grandparents?
Well, I would say just telling them that, Mom and Dad, you know, this is dangerous to your health. You're going to get sick. You could die from lung cancer. And, you know, just that eventually, you know, everyone will have some consequences of this. And so please do this for me as well as for your own health. I don't think children think of it so much as that it's dangerous for themselves, although maybe have some sense of that. But I think that they're concerned about their parents.
Sure, they want them to be around.
Yeah.
And they did learn that in the tobacco prevention component for the kids in the school. They learned that when you are around a smoker, it also affects you.
What about you know, I guess if you wanted to critique this study, you could say, I could quit anything if I had the team at MCG in my face every week. But what about when the study is over and these people are left on their own and they don't have these personal trainers, if you will, holding them accountable?
Right.
How well do you think they're going to do then?
Well, one really great thing is through the Cancer Center, and I serve as the director of the tobacco control program there, we have a phenomenal cessation clinic. So right now there's actually another grant that is in place, and anybody in Augusta-Richmond County right now that wants to quit smoking, there's billboards all over town, and we are offering you to come to see a physician or a nurse practitioner, get the appropriate medication prescribed, and meet with our counselor for sessions. We are working with Augusta Public Housing Authority because Housing Urban Development has mandated that by July 31st, that public housing across the entire nation have a tobacco-free policy in place.
Who smokes more, blacks, whites, men, women, or do you know?
Mostly males, but women are catching up much more. And this is the deal. African Americans and blacks have lower smoking rates, but this is the really negative thing for them. There are major racial disparities related to tobacco effects, such that if I have a very dear friend of mine smoke a cigarette, the same brand, and I smoke the same brand, and I do not smoke, but I'm giving you an example here, of course.
Sure. No, you better not smoke.
No, I don't smoke. I never have smoked, and I'm thankful for that. But anyway, and we smoked the same cigarette, inhaled the same amount, and then you tested our cotinine levels. Hers would be higher.
Why?
We believe it has something to do with genetics and how they metabolize nicotine in their body.
Interesting.
So it stays in their body longer and the effects are damaging. Can I tell you one quick blurb,
Sure.
getting back to what you asked Dr. Caldwell about children? So lots of things happened during the study. And I had a parent call me one day. I was sitting in the office that was in a very small rural school, and she said, I didn't sign up for your study last week when I had a chance, but my child is bugging me so bad about wanting to be in that study because his classmates are telling him about it and they're in it. And she said, is it too late? Can I join it? And I said, absolutely not, that would be wonderful. And then I was actually sitting in a home, getting some information from a parent that was in the study that had a 4-year-old in the school next door, and she has a 3-year-old that starts having an asthma attack. And at the time I'm there, she's smoking a Black and Mild. Do you know what a Black and Mild is?
Oh yeah, sure. People use it, get rid of the tobacco, and make it into a joint.
Yeah, right. But anyway, a Black and Mild has a very, very heavy dose of tar and nicotine in it. So I almost physically get sick, but I don't. And her child starts having an asthma attack, and I just look at her and say, with all sympathy and sincerity, Mrs. So-and-so, do you understand that you're smoking and that smoke is bringing on his asthma attack? And she looks at me, sincere as she can be, Mr. Means, and says, I had no idea my smoking affected the health of my children.
She didn't even know.
She had no clue.
When we come back on the Means Report, we're going to continue to talk about this new study from MCG on smoking and parents and children and the role that the whole family can play in kicking the habit, and what in the world is going on with the growing popularity of vaping and hookahs and other things that I don't care to learn about, but I guess I'm about to in the next segment. Those things are everywhere, aren't they? Stay with us.